welcome over here to my kitchen today. I'm going to be showing you some extra delicious, simple crock pot recipes. But before we hop into this video, I do want to take a moment and say thank you from my little family to you. We reached 100,000 subscribers this past week, and truthfully, it just doesn't really feel real. I never would have thought or imagined my channel would get to 100,000 subscribers. It's just crazy, and I am absolutely so thankful for each and every one of you guys. You guys have been so supportive and kind from whenever you started watching my videos until now. I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe and healthy. But anyways, let's go get to cooking. To get us started off, we're going to be making one of my all-time favorite soups, this creamy sausage tortellini. I'm going to be chopping up my veggies first, 2 sticks of celery, 3 carrots, and 1 white onion. Now that I'm through with that, you're just going to brown up 1 pound of some sausage in a pan. I'm just using mild sausage, but you could use sweet sausage, hot sausage, whatever you like. Now that it is cooked, I drained out all of the excess grease, and then you're going to add the sausage to your crock pot with all of the veggies that you chopped up. Next, you'll be adding in your broth. I chose to use vegetable broth for this recipe, but any broth will do. A tablespoon of some Italian seasoning, some salt and pepper just to your taste, and then about 3 cloves of some garlic. You're going to stir this all together, plop the lid on top, and cook this on low for about 7 hours. Now that the cooking time is over, you're going to add your cornstarch slurry in, which is 1/4 cup of cornstarch and 1/4 cup of water mixed together. Just add it to the soup, and then you're going to add in your half and half. I used about 3 cups of half and half total, but you could use more or less depending on your preference. I'm going to cook this on high for an additional 20 minutes. After those 20 minutes of cooking, you're going to add in your 12 ounces of some frozen cheese tortellini. Give this a really good stir, and then you're going to cook this for an additional 10 minutes or until that tortellini is cooked. So now this last part is optional, but I am adding in 4 cups of some fresh chopped spinach, and then I'm going to stir it around until the spinach wilts down. Now it's ready to serve. I just served mine with some fresh Parmesan cheese on top. This is one of my family's favorite soups. It's just so hearty, delicious, and flavorful. Now we're making some Italian beef sandwiches, and I am not joking when I say you gotta make these. These sandwiches are so good. So to get it started, in my crock pot, you're gonna add a 3-pound chuck roast along with 14 ounces of some beef broth, 1/4 cup of some Worcestershire sauce, and then 1/4 cup of some low sodium soy sauce. You do want to make sure you use the low sodium soy sauce, or else it might be a little bit too salty. A cup of some non-diet Coke. I know that might sound weird, but it's going to make the meat nice, tender, and flavorful. So for the seasonings, you're going to add about 3 tablespoons of some chopped onions, 2 teaspoons of oregano and garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of some Italian seasoning and thyme, and then some salt and pepper to your taste. The very last ingredient I'm adding in is just 1/4 cup of some peppercini juice. This is going to cook on low for about 8 hours. Here's the roast 8 hours later. My house was smelling so good. It is going to be very easy to shred because the roast is very tender at this point, so go ahead and shred it up into smaller pieces. Making this into a sandwich is so simple. So I have 2 hoagie rolls right here. Of course, this recipe makes way more than 2 sandwiches, but that's all my family needed on this night. I just added some of the Italian beef that I strained to one side of the hoagie rolls, put some sliced peppercini peppers on top with a couple slices of some provolone cheese, and this is going to go under my broiler for about 3 minutes. This is the finished product. I served my sandwich with a side salad and some of the juice that the meat was cooking in to dip the sandwich in. This was so good. My family loves this recipe. That meat has a ton of great flavor. This meal was my husband's request. We're going to be making some chicken curry now. This is another family favorite. In my crock pot, I'm adding 1.5 pounds of some chicken breast in, and then you're going to be adding all of your seasonings. There's a lot. About 4 teaspoons of some garam masala, 3 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, cumin, paprika, turmeric, and then a little bit of some salt. If you want this spicy, go ahead and add some cayenne in too, and that will give it a little bit of a kick. After I gave this a really good stir, I'm going to add in my 15 ounces of some tomato sauce along with 1 onion diced, 1/2 cup of water, a tablespoon of some ginger and garlic, tablespoon of some tomato paste, 3 teaspoons of some sugar, and then once again you're going to give this a really good stir and cook this on low for about 5 hours. Now that my chicken curry is through cooking, I'm going to be adding in 1/2 cup of some heavy whipping cream to make it nice and creamy, 1/2 of a lime, that's optional, but it's going to give it some great flavor, and then about 1/4 cup of some fresh cilantro. Again, that's optional, but my family loves the cilantro. Give this a good stir, let everything heat through, and then it is ready to serve. I served mine over a bed of some jasmine rice with some more cilantro and lime on top. The only thing this was missing was some naan bread, but this was so amazing. It was particularly cold on this day, so I wanted to make some beef stew to warm up to. I'm just going to dice up 1/2 of an onion, 2 medium russet potatoes, and 3 carrots into smaller pieces. Over to my crock pot, I'm going to be adding in my 2 pounds of some beef stew meat right now, along with all of the veggies that we just chopped up. On top of those veggies, I'm going to be adding in 14 ounces of some crushed tomatoes, 1/4 cup of some Worcestershire sauce, 2 bay leaves, 2 cups of water, some salt and pepper, and then you're going to want to add in about 16 ounces of some frozen green beans. I did give this a little bit of a stir, and this is going to cook on low for about 7 to 8 hours. After this was through cooking, I removed the bay leaves and gave it a good stir. This is my bowl of soup. I just served it with a toasted roll on the side. This is such a yummy beef stew recipe. My whole family loves it. And then I really like how simple it is to throw together. Now we're making some extraordinarily simple pot pie in the crock pot. So to my crock pot, I'm adding 1.5 cups of some chopped carrots and celery. If you have an onion on hand, go ahead and add a diced onion, but I was all out of onion on that particular day. I also added in my 2 medium-sized chicken breasts, 1 cup of some chicken broth, 2 cans of cream of soup. I used cream of celery and cream of chicken, but any type of cream of soup will work for this recipe. Just use whatever you like. For the seasonings, just add a dash of some salt and pepper, tablespoon of parsley, teaspoon of oregano, paprika, onion powder. Stir everything together and then cook this on low for about 7 to 8 hours. Now that everything's completely cooked through, I'm just going to shred this up with 2 forks, and then you're going to add in about 1 cup of some frozen peas and 1 cup of frozen corn. You're going to let this cook for an additional 30 minutes or until those peas and corn are cooked through. Here's the finished product. This was super scrumptious. My family loved it. I just served a biscuit on the side, and we actually had this for leftovers the next day, and it really did make for some great leftovers. This next meal is some creamy pork chops, and this recipe's spot on. I have 4 thicker pork chops right here. I'm going to season them on both sides with some salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and some paprika. To add some extra flavor to these pork chops, we're going to sear them on both sides. So I have my pan here with some hot oil in it, and you're going to sear them for a couple minutes on each side. Just don't cook them completely through. If you don't have time to sear these, you could definitely skip that part. But now I'm through with that. I just remove them to a separate plate. Now over to my crock pot, we're going to start on the creamy mixture. I just added in a cup of some sour cream with a half a cup of chicken broth, 1 can of some cream of mushroom soup. If you don't care for cream of mushroom, you could use any other type of cream of soup. I'm just going to whisk this all together. Add your pork chops in now to that creamy mixture, and this is going to cook on low for only about 3 hours. That's one of the reasons why I love this recipe. I can make it when I'm in a total rush. Here's the finished product. These pork chops were super, super tender, and they had a ton of great flavor. I served these on the side with a biscuit and some steamed broccolis. You could see right there the pork chops were just falling apart tender. And that is a wrap of this video today. I hope you enjoyed it and got some meal inspiration. Again, I did want to take a moment and say thank you. Seriously, my family appreciates each and every one of you guys who supports me, so thank you. Anyways, I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.